What's up, guys? So this is the my brother's Byrna TCR, pretty much stock. I removed the red dot he had on it. To take this thing apart and to maintenance it, you're gonna need oil, like paintball marker oil or silicone oil or anything that you can use with like paintball guns or paintball markers or even like silicone spray. I myself use like liquid wrench silicone spray. It seems to be fine. This is grease. There's lots of different types of grease and stuff that you can buy. This is just like some silicone grease. It's white. I've been using it in pretty much everything I have, and I've also been using this in pretty much everything that I have. So you're gonna need that. You're gonna need a set of standard size Allen keys. This small set works fine. You pretty much just need like a 1/8 inch Allen wrench for almost everything on the TCR. And you're going to need some snap ring pliers if you want to get into two certain pieces. And those pieces are the air valve and the puncture assembly. So I'm just going to get into this. First thing you want to do is remove the barrel. And I already unscrewed it, so it screws in and screws out from the housing. You see those threads on it. These are A5 threads, so any barrel that you have that uses A5 threads, if you have like myself, I have the Tip X and I have the Tippmann A5, it uses those types of threads. So the Tip X and the TCR and the A5, they all use the same barrel threads. I forgot to mention, well, I did in the previous video, but I'm going to be installing, well, first of all, I'm going to maintenance O-rings and all that, because this has never been taken apart. It's also never been shot, but I want to get oil on some of the stuff and grease on O-rings and stuff, just to recondition everything. This is discontinued. I found it by buying it from 3 different websites, and what I'm talking about is the remote line pieces. So I think you need to buy about 4 O-rings. I'm pretty sure there's an O-ring on the bottom of this quick disconnect where my fingernail is. I'm pretty sure those are all the same size. I think it's SL2-25 is the O-ring number from Tippmann Parts. I'm pretty sure it's that. I'll have to look at my order I made like months ago. But I bought these 2 pieces from one website. This is a, I think it's called the fill nipple extension, and this is called the quick disconnect, like fill nipple quick disconnect or something. And the part that has recently came back, but it was sold out, and I think I got the last one at the time, but now for some reason Tippmann Parts has more of these. The last time I checked, which was like a month or 2 ago, they had 10 of these in stock. This is a nipple swivel adapter or something like that. So it fits on this, and it goes right here. And I want to show you one more piece before I stick that together, because I don't want to take this apart anymore. So that was the second website. So one website for that. You can probably get it from the same website, the O-rings from the same website. And this is a check valve. This isn't necessary, but you will need it if you want to run a 12-gram CO2 off this without using the airline system thing. So this is a quick, this is a check valve, and what this does is it blocks pressure from leaving the marker. So there's a little O-ring right there, and I had to buy this piece and the O-rings from a 3rd website, because nobody has all the parts. At least when I bought this, nobody had all the parts. So I had to get it from 3 different places, which was not a headache, but it's kind of a pain in the butt, because you have to pay for shipping for all this stuff unless you make a minimum order. And so yeah, that check valve goes inside this quick disconnect, and the O-ring for the check valve is attached to the bottom. Then this has an O-ring. This black piece has an O-ring, and it threads into this swivel piece. So I'm going to put that in not all the way, just almost all the way, because it needs to have some space to allow this to fit. See how it blocks it off? So put this in here. I'm going to put a little bit of grease and stuff on these O-rings. I did that a few months ago, but it's been a while since I've even like looked at this or messed with it, because I was waiting for my brother to meet up so I can get his TCR from him and do all this stuff. So I'm just putting grease on this. It doesn't need like a bunch, but just put some on there. This seemed like it was fine, but I might as well put grease on it, and or whatever's left on my finger. And yeah, I'll probably touch base with him every couple, I don't know, like to specifically talk about the TCR. I'll probably contact him every couple months and be like, hey dude, have you checked out your TCR? So putting this back, not putting it in all the way, not yet. And then this goes on like this. Just kind of easily push it on there. You don't want to tear the O-rings that are on the pole piece. And then I'm just going to tighten this down with my fingers. It's pretty much good. And this does swivel. So what this does is you can have it retracted as if it's in here in this housing. You can have it like this, and then when you want to use it, you can twist it, or like specifically twist this disconnect thing, so you can pull it out and then it'll be sticking out from here. Whenever I have this all assembled, I'll show you guys. But yeah, this is a pain in the ass to find nowadays, and like I said, I had to order it from 3 different websites to get all the parts, because no one website had all the pieces. So that was a mission. So back to this. I'm going to remove these screws. There's no really like wrong or right way to do this, because all the screws are pretty much the same except for these two and these top ones along the rail. So I'm gonna remove the sorry, my camera keeps on falling over. So I'm gonna remove the rail first, the sights on the rail, because those will keep it clamped together and I won't be able to take it apart. I think I picked up the wrong Allen key. No, that's the right one. So yeah, this is a 1/8 Allen key, and I'm just removing the sight right here. This has never been taken apart, so everything's really tight, like from factory. So that should come off now. And then this one's gonna come off. All right. Okay. I'll take off this one. And I usually just leave all the stuff together as much as I can. So I'll put this screw back in here and just give it a couple little twists so that it goes into this. There's a nut on the backside of the shell and of these sights. And I'll probably use that sight to level out the TCR once I start taking it apart more. And if you guys want to know where I got those pieces, I'll put a link in the description. Or if anyone comments, I'll just tell you guys where to get it, because sometimes I have zero feedback on any of these videos. So anyways, I'm just gonna remove this. So unscrewing this. If you have a Byrna TCR and you just bought it, I would suggest just using it for a while until you want to figure out if you want to actually do this, because if you have a brand new one, you're going to void your warranty, like guaranteed, by taking it apart and stuff. It's not bad that you're taking it apart. It's actually an old paintball marker and it's very serviceable. But yeah, you probably want to just use it like normal. So I removed these 2 screws. I took off this front piece. This all just comes off once you remove these 2 screws. And then there's a pin right here. And that pin is holding this in here. So you could just use your finger or Allen key and push down on it. And it should come out. So yeah, this thing's like super tight because mine was pretty easy to take apart and stuff after I was messing with it back and forth for a while. But this one's pretty much all new. So here's the pin. There's like a fat side, and the fat side goes on the bottom. So I'm just going to take this off now, feed this through here, and just put it to the side with this pile of stuff I got going right now. And so far that was just the sights, these 2 front screws, and I'm going to start removing the bottom row and this one on the handle, and then I'll work on the top rail. And so yeah, like I was saying, if you have a brand new Byrna TCR, I wouldn't do any of this stuff to yours unless you are familiar with working with paintball markers, or you have a Tipex, or you've had one in the past. And like I said, this is very, very similar to the Tipex. The inside is just in a bigger shell. And you pretty much just need 1 Allen key to do this, to do all this. And I've taken mine apart like probably at least 20 times now with all the things I've done to it. And it's almost like second nature. And plus, because I'm taking apart the Tipexes, it's very easy for me to figure out where everything goes. I think this one screw is a slightly different length, and I'll check that right now. So I'm gonna leave that here. I'm gonna take this out. You can also use a magnet to take these out. So this screw has a little bit of a no thread on the bottom. Doesn't matter. I've switched all the screws around. They're all the same thread, and they're all pretty much the same length. This one doesn't have some thread on the bottom. I'm just trying to figure out where they do go. This one doesn't have a little bit of thread on the bottom. Some of them are fully threaded, and I'm trying to figure out which ones are fully threaded. So some of these longer screws. So yeah, all 4 of these screws on the bottom have the tiny bit of not threaded, like I guess shaft, and they are a different length than the one on the handle. So this little short guy was right here, and all these other 4 are on the bottom. So I'm gonna put those over here along with the handle one, and then when I remove this screw is not visible because it's being blocked. So there's a screw right here, and then there's screws on the top rail section also. So yeah, I'm gonna remove all these ones on the top. These are all short. I think they're a different length than the short one I just showed you guys, the one from the handle. I'll check that right now. So this is the one from the bottom of the handle right here. This is it, and this is the one from the top of the rail. So it is shorter length. So yeah, all these ones on the top are all that same little short guy. So I'm gonna remove all these, and if you guys want to play it on double speed, feel free, because I don't like editing stuff that often, and I only edit in things when I want to write like joule values and stuff. But sort of advanced editing, it's kind of hard to do on my phone. I typically just record stuff on my phones and edit things on my phones. So it gets kind of crazy once I want to start like fast forwarding things or splitting and cutting like all on my phone. It's kind of weird for me. So I'm used to just putting in joule numbers and doing light editing, but for me to like fast forward certain sections and then have other parts play normal speed and then like all that crazy stuff, I'm not really familiar with it. And maybe later in the future, but for now I'm just doing this the way I want. So those are the 5 little screws that are going on the rail. My other screws are over here. And now we can take off these two, and this is holding the buttstock and the valve and all that. It's holding it in place. So these are kind of the tighter ones out of all of them, and these are also long and they're rounded on top. So all the other screws I've removed, they're all flathead, like they have a flat shape on top, and these are the only two that they're the longest screws, and they have a round head. So this should come out. So see how it's round on top? It's like a button. All the other screws are flat. So this came out and that came out. So those are good. And now I'm going to let the camera fall over and bring it down a little bit. So after you remove all those screws, you should be good. It's not going to pop open or nothing, but you do have to, like, this little puzzle piece jigsaw thing on the handle, it's keeping the marker clamped together. So you kind of have to like pinch and twist your fingers, and it came apart right there. So that's what we're doing. We're just unclasping this piece. So once you have that unclasped, this edge, this top edge of the TCR and the buttstock are kind of offset from each other. Like the buttstock kind of hangs down a little bit. So what I usually do is I get one of the sights and I'll put it kind of underneath the TCR to support it a little bit. You can also use like a t-shirt or something, some sort of pad, and put it on the body of the TCR to support it. So yeah, I think I'll be fine with that one, but I'll be back really quick. All right, like magic, I got a tail behind it. So this is kind of like down a little bit, and the buttstock is kind of like raised up a little, so it makes the body like kind of angled, like slouched down from the stock. So you can put this pad behind it to keep it sort of leveled. So now that I have this bottom piece unsnapped from it, you can hold this like right here and pull up slowly, and you can put your finger like push down against this housing, and I'm just gonna slightly kind of just like wiggle my hand like this, get my fingers in between this crease that's starting to appear between the two halves, and I'm just gonna slowly pull this up. You don't want to go too fast. There's a little bit of tension on the spring right here, but as long as you do this somewhat slow, nothing should go crazy or go flying all over the place. Sometimes I hold the stock right here with my thumb. I'll hold that down so that it decreases the chances of stuff flying all over the place. You should be fine though, as long as you do this slow and you're not like just like ripping this apart. And it's almost off now. And just kind of wiggle it back and forth. And now it's off. So you want to hold this with your thumb right here to keep the pressure on this. So this housing's chill. I'm just going to put it over here on the table. And the inside looks pretty good. There's a lot of grease in places. I don't see any like grease that's not there that should be there. So we're good as far as that. I'm just going to put this screw in here just to kind of hold it down so I don't have to... I guess you can only do that on the Tipex. Okay, never mind. Forget about that. So what I'm going to do is release the tension on the spring so I don't have to worry about this flying all over the place. And yeah, so what I usually do is I'll grab this like so, and I'll kind of, I guess I should undo this first. Okay, so what you want to do is this piece is the puncture cap thing, and it can swivel up and down and move left and right, so this moves a lot. You want to disconnect this gas line first. So I'm pushing this like flat piece, I'm pushing it toward the front of my arm, and I just did it, and you can see the O-ring. And this is the regulator. This does not move, but you can move this. So this piece like moves around and swivels and stuff. So you can pull this out now. Should be able to. Yep. Oh, shit. All right, so I got the brass pipe off of here, and I can take this pressure off of this spring and stuff now. So you can kind of I'm have my finger in this barrel entrance, and I'm pulling up, and I'm kind of pushing down with my finger just slightly. So this should come off pretty easily. Like, it just came off right now, and now the pressure's off, and I don't have to worry about stuff flying all over the place. This orange, this is the barrel breech. I'm just going to remove all this stuff so you can get a clear view of everything. This is the barrel breech. This holds the balls. These are detents, so this holds the ball, kind of like shaped like a ball right here. This holds the ball in the barrel so it doesn't just fall out the front. And I'm just going to put that to the side for now. I'm going to look at all these various little O-rings and stuff. This may be boring for some of you guys, but it's kind of educational. There's a really good video from ANS Gear on how to maintenance the Tippmann TCR, which is pretty much the same as this. So I'm just putting grease on this bolt spring, and I'm using the grease I showed you guys. Putting grease on this because it's pretty dry, and then I'm going to put grease on the bolts, and then put grease on the power tube, and I'll probably open up the valve just to look at the O-rings. They're probably fine because all this grease that's on here from the factory is pretty like lumped on pretty crazy, like globs of grease. And I'm pretty sure his puncture valve thing is fine. I probably won't take it apart, but I will spray it with silicone oil and put some oil on CO2 carts when I decide to, you know, look at it and stuff. So this is the regulator, the black thing, and it comes off, and there's a small gas tube that goes to the valve. This is the valve where all the air goes and shoots air out. So this looks fine. Like I said, there's a bunch of grease on this, which is fine because he's not using it as much as me. So I'm just going to put a little bit more on the this exposed part. And I'll probably drop a little bit of oil. The grease pretty much is a good substitute for oil for things that don't move very often. So I'm going to remove that. This is a regulator plug, and this is where the remote line fitting goes. So I just unscrewed it right now. It's kind of tight a little bit, but it came off. I'm taking this out. This is like a plug for this, because this will release air. But the reason I'm taking that off is because I want to stick the remote line adapter on here. I'm going to put some grease on this little O-ring before I do that. And yeah, just bear with me for a second. So put this in here, don't cross thread it if you can even get your hands on these pieces. And I'm just tightening this down. I'm probably going to need a wrench to tighten this, so I'll be right back. All right, you guys, a 5/16 in standard size, 5/16 will fit this. And I tightened it already. I don't want to over tighten it, but it should be good. Like I said, I'm not going to be able to shoot this tonight because it's already like 8 o'clock or something, 7:25. But we'll shoot it in the future. So now that the regulator is pretty much finished, I'm going to look at this really quick. This is the valve. You can just, you know, this is the bolt. So I'll put that right here. This comes out, like, you can slide it out of the front. And it looks fine. There's a pretty good amount of grease on this still. I'm pretty sure it's probably fine in here. I could probably be fine not looking at this, but I'll just tear it apart anyways. And you want to keep a finger, this is a snap ring, snap ring plier things. You want to keep a finger on the side you're not pinching so that you don't lose this. These are pretty easy to find, like at automotive stores or even online or whatever. It's an easy part to get a new one. You just have to get a size. So it's almost out. It's out now. So I'm going to take this out, put it to the side. Since I didn't pull the power tube, which is this black thing, since I didn't pull it off, I'm going to need something to push from the front. So I'm probably going to use a wood chopstick. I'll be right back. All right, this is a chopstick. You can get it from like Panda Express or any other place. Eat at a mall that has Japanese food or Asian food or Chinese food. So I'm just going to push this down because I've taken the valve out, the snap ring off the back. So it just came out right now. This is all the stuff I was pushing out. So I'm going to put oil and grease on these. This is the cap. So I removed the snap ring from this part and I popped it out from the front. So this is the cap and the O-ring. There's a spring in here. And then there's a another like valve piece in here. So this valve is what I put in my TCR. I'm sorry, what I put in my Tipex. So the Tipex, the normal valve is just like these little jelly bean, not jelly beans, these little holes. There's 9 little holes in it. And I'll show you right now. I'm just trying to get this piece out. So these are the 2 pieces inside the valve. I will show you guys what's going on once I get all this stuff together. So yeah, these are inside the valve, and when there's air pressure, this is either getting pushed in or it's getting released. And when there's air pressure and you pull the trigger, it's making this move, and then this is plugging this up, so when you pull the trigger it comes back and it allows air to go through. I could show more, but then I have to get more wrenches and stuff and really rip this apart. So it looks fine to me. Since I said this was brand new, like it's never been shot, the Tipex, the stock valves, instead of having these 3 big holes on the outside edge, they have 9 small holes. So I put a valve like this inside my Tipex, the one with the red shroud, and I'm still adjusting the velocity, see if it gets high speeds. And I'm just going to put some grease on this thing, on all the inside of the valve. These O-rings look fine. They've never been shot, so this is basically like an immaculate TCR, or it was a second ago. And yeah, I'm just putting grease on some stuff. I'm going to put some oil in the valve, just a little bit. And yeah, so put that in there, push it down. I'm going to drop some grease down there and kind of like push the front, push the back. Put this on the edge, this on the edge, and just get this, since I don't have the front of it open, I'm using the chopstick to push this. And since it's wood, it's not going to like mar or scratch stuff because wood isn't as hard as aluminum. So yeah, I'm just pushing this in, working that oil and working that grease in there. And I'm going to put the back on right now. So I usually do that like 3 or 4 times. You don't have to. There's no right or wrong way to do that. So when this is pressed in all the way, it's blocking the air from escaping. And that's usually how I put mine back. So I'll push this in all the way, that first valve piece, and then I'll drop the spring in right here. It goes in that hole. And then I'm going to put some grease and oil on this valve cap O-ring. I don't know exactly if these hold pressure or anything. I'm sure the back one does, but I'm kind of still trying to figure out what this middle one does, because I think it plugs up this recessed area right here, I think. But I think, yeah, I guess when it opens up all the way or it gets pushed back, it allows all the air to go through all these little holes, and then it flies out, the air goes out. Yeah, I'm still trying to get my mind around how this valve works. And I've opened up, you know, the Tipex valve and this valve and other stuff like a lot of times, and they're all different. So I think this was like one of the original like spool valves, and now they have like stuff like the M17 and other ones that are new versions of kind of what this is trying to do. So this is all back together. I'm pretty sure my spring should be good. I'm just gonna double check that it's has some like pressure and stuff. So yeah, I think it was good. I'll probably just take it apart one more time just to work that grease and oil into the valve a little bit better. And I just knocked everything out because it's all greasy and lubed up. So push that in, push this in. I guess I could go backwards. So you just want to line up the spring. You want to make sure it goes in there, and there's really no way to tell that it's going into the middle, aside from once you put it together and if it's like leaking or something, or if you have some sort of weird issues with it not firing, it could be related to the valve. So I'm just trying to do this as best as I can, and I think it's in there good. Yeah, so I'll see what happens when I air it up. So I'm going to put some grease on this, even though it already has a good amount. I'm going to put a couple drops of oil on this, and then get my bolt and kind of just like do this do this with that, and put that down for a second. I'm going to put some grease on the bolt and put the bolt spring back on here, and then get her ready to reassemble. Some stuff that I didn't really mess with was you know, taking this black part off the valve. There's an O-ring inside here. I'm probably going to put a little bit of grease on these detents because they look like they need some love. And I'm going to put some grease on the inside of the breech. Oh, he doesn't have one. All right, that's weird. I think mine has an O-ring in here. His doesn't seem to have one. And the barrel doesn't have one on there, so maybe I'll put an O-ring in here. I'll see how it functions, and if I notice I'm not getting that much power or something, I'll probably put an O-ring in there. But I'm just gonna put these back. Another thing I didn't really mess with was the CO2 puncture thing housing, because you can take this apart also. But I'm probably just gonna leave that alone for now because this video is getting kind of long. And yeah, so put this all together right here. This is gonna move all the time, this O-ring, so it's not gonna stay like exactly where you want it to be, but it's fine. So on the housing, you can see this little like knockout piece right here. That's where the detent goes. So when you put the valve back together, make sure that this pin, there's a little like a little nub sticking out right here. Make sure that that is pushed in all the way. It's in all the way right now, but you just don't want it to be sticking out, because this arm for the trigger is going to snap it or break it. So just make sure that this pin is pressed in all the way. And yeah, I'm just going to put this back together. I was going to dye this and stuff, but oh, actually, I didn't put the snap ring back on the valve. That would have been bad. So take this out, get the snap ring that goes on the back, and clip her back on. That would have been stupid. A stupid mistake. So yeah, gonna put that back here, squeeze her down, and rest it on the table. I'm gonna do this kind of off camera a little bit. It's kind of hard for me to have all this going and stuff like that. So I'm just putting pressure, leaving my finger on the back end just to make sure that it doesn't go flying across the room. So now that's it. That's back in. I've had those snap ring pliers for like 20 years or something. I used it originally on a old ignition for a truck, and yeah, I just picked them up and they're still around. So yeah, put this O-ring on the bolt spring. It's supposed to rest in the little recessed area on the front of the breech, but like I said, it's going to move around. It's fine. And put the bolt back on here, and then get the stock and put this in the stock and get that all going. You want to push that toward the back, like the bottom side of the marker, that valve housing. And then I need to get my oil out of the way. So the stock fits in on this housing. My detent came out right here. So the stock, it's molded in the way of the stock in the housing. So if you have some weird like pinching going on or something weird, it's because your stock isn't lined up correctly with the housing of the plastic. And you can see on the this housing right here, it's lined up to do this, like fit the stock in. And same with this breech area, it's kind of cut out, like there's like a line right here, and that fits this breech. So sometimes I put the detent in the actual housing like that, and then I push this all together. Other times I try to stick the detent in the breech and then push it down. You can do it however you want. And I think this might work, but I think my O-ring's gonna be stupid. All right, there you go. So pushing this in, holding it down, it's back in now. You get more used to doing this the more you do it. So since I've taken apart the Tip-X and my TCR a bunch of times, I'm used to doing this a lot. And then I'm checking the detent to make sure it's lined up correctly. So those two little orange like nubs in there, they should be shaped like the front of a ball. You don't want to have them backwards. Like, don't have it this way, or you're just gonna snap these. So you want it to be like this. So it's like hugging the front of the ball, looking like that. So this is good to go. I'm going to put the regulator back in here. I guess I should have did it a little bit beforehand. But yeah, it's been a little bit since I've taken this one apart. So I'm going to have to take this apart right here, put the regulator in here. And then the regulator also fits in the housing of the TCR. So it's kind of notched out where certain things are supposed to fit, like hard metal pieces. So this is good. I need to fix my detent because it fell over. And yeah, regulators in, the swivel pieces in. I'm just going to fendangle this back in. So this is all good now. Detents are lined up. This is lined up. The little swivel thing looks like it's like nice and like covered in this little area that's supposed to be at. And yeah, so all this grease on here looks fine, but I'm still gonna put a little drop of oil on the both sides of this brass tube, just for good measure. It has a lot of grease on it. It's almost like too much. It's kind of ridiculous how much is on here actually, but I'm just gonna leave it that way because yeah, my brother does mess with paintball markers, but he's never messed with this one. And I told him I could get his going, like with all these little pieces and stuff. So I put this side in first. You kind of want to do it as straight as you can because you don't want shear off the edge of the O-ring. And then this piece, like I said, it can swivel up and down, and it can go like left and right. So I'm gonna put this up, line this up pretty good. It's in there now. I'm gonna push it forward, and yeah, this is all back together. I didn't mess with the CO2 housing because it's getting kind of long, but maybe I'll show you guys in a different video how to do this. And yeah, it's 742. I still do want to dye this dark green or whatever, but I know that everything's basically lubed up again. It didn't really need it that bad because he's never shot this. So I just wanted to go over it before I start putting a bunch of pressure through it, just to make sure that everything's good and like has grease and is not all brittle and like falling apart and stuff. So I'm just gonna put this back together, and I guess I'll show you guys how to do that. Sorry this video got so long. I didn't realize that it went that long. So you always kind of want to keep this kind of pinched down a little bit. This is the other side of the shell. If you're holding the breech, you should be good. And then if you're holding like the middle of the spring, you should be good, or even if you're holding the stock. But I usually just kind of put my finger right there on the spring itself. And then this mag release thing could get in the way because sometimes it wants to do this and then it gets caught underneath the shell. So what I usually do is I'll line up the mag release and the safety, which is right here. I'll line those up with the shell to get it fitted in there correctly, and I'm angling it down a little bit. So this part is going to be kind of hard for me to get on camera without it popping off on me. So it is doable. It's just you just have to worry about this mag release getting stuck underneath, because that's the part that keeps on wanting to like go underneath the shell. And you need that to not be under the shell because you need your mag to come out. So yeah, I'm just gonna struggle with this for a second. I'm still struggling with it. I can't tell if this is slightly angled a little bit because it needs to fit in that recess right here. So I'm just kind of messing with this in a more comfortable position for me to do this. And just going slowly. All right, so I forgot to do something. I forgot to take this random little piece off because it's blocking the remote line, this pole. It's blocking this from getting in there, and it looks like it's just a little tiny piece, and this is it. So this was blocking my shell from closing, and it fits in right here. So now that I have that out, I shouldn't have any problems really putting this back together. I was wondering like what the hell's going on with this thing. Yeah, it should just go on pretty easy now. All right, that was a pain in the butt, but I got it in. So yeah, see how this is hidden in here? It's not all Frankenstein like mine, and this swivels in and out really easily, and the housing of the TCR keeps this from like flying off or whatever, so that's why it doesn't need like a snap ring on the back and stuff. So this is all good. I'm going to put the screws back in, and then I'll show you guys how to reassemble it. Like from this point, it's pretty much almost the exact reverse of what we just did. So what I normally do is I put the stock bolts in first, which are these ones with the round heads, because that's what's holding the pressure and stuff. So I really need to get a new tripod thing. I'll be right back. All right, so the stock bolts go in first, or that's what I usually do because that's where the pressure is. And then you can just save this little, that was the remote line plug thing. And we're just gonna slowly screw these in. And it doesn't grab onto anything until the screw's like almost all the way through, because there's little recessed nuts on the other side of this plastic shell. So that one's pretty much good. I'm just going to tighten it down. So that's good. That's good. So yeah, once those two are in, you don't have to worry about this thing like popping apart or nothing like that. It should be fine. So next I'm going to put the top rail stuff back on. So all these little short screws, putting them in the holes, and then I'm going to tighten them down. There should be 5 total, so all along the top, and then this one, which was hidden earlier because it has that this little like thing covering it. And I'm going to tighten those down, and we're pretty much almost done. I probably won't put the sights back on until later, and yeah, I'm just gonna put this back together. If you ever find that a screw isn't grabbing on anything, just kind of like pinch the housing together, and then it should grab on to whatever, like the nut on the other side. And then also like make sure you're not cross threading the bolts and the nuts. So like don't, if it doesn't want to go like twist, like don't force it, because you'll just strip the nuts. And the nuts are, they're not just like standard sized nuts. Like it's a 1032 thread, like standard, you know, American 1032, so it's a fine thread. But it's hard to find I wouldn't call them like low pro, but they're very narrow. So like a normal 1032 nut is like twice as thick. So now I'm putting this handle one down. You need to, I forgot to show you, you need to clip this back together right here. So now it's back together. And yeah, the nuts are they're really like narrow. So if you lose one or you strip one, you can buy them from like TipmanParts.com or like Rockstar Tactical, or a lot of other online stores. They have like Tipman nuts, and they're just like really skinny. And yeah, it's a 1032 thread for all these. And yeah, I'm just putting these all back, and I'll do the CO2 catch thing last. So yeah, I want to dye this dark green like mine, and power tune it, make it hit like 35 joules or 40 joules, and then yeah, pretty much just get it pretty much like mine, except his will look nicer because it doesn't have that brass pipe sticking out the back. So this thing, take the pin out, this like fat side goes in bottom, like this should be on the bottom, the side that's like stepped, and you just put this in like this, push it in, you'll see the hole right here. So if it doesn't want to go in, it's because this orange thing is pushed like forward too much. So you could just pull it back with your finger, and that pin fits in nice and easy. you shouldn't have to force that pin in. It just goes in really easy. And the pin is held in place by this bottom piece. That's why it doesn't need like a screw or anything or a bolt to like latch onto. So I'm just taking this out. And yeah, so put this on, put these 2 bolts back into here, get my Allen key, and tighten it down. So yeah, we're pretty much done. I don't know if you guys are interested in seeing how to dye these pieces, because it's not that hard. I don't know how long that video will take, because yeah, I'm not like the best at like speeding through these things. I'm just a normal dude. I don't play with these like all the time. I have a normal job. Like, I'm not always at home. I wish I could just be at home shooting these things and doing stuff to them all the time. But yeah, sometimes I have limited time to use them. Sometimes I have like a whole afternoon to use them or tinker around with stuff, like, you know, more than 2 hours to like play around with stuff. Sometimes I don't. More recently, I haven't really had a lot of extra time to be like fooling around with these, because I've had like just parties to go to, and like been throwing random stuff at my house, and just been doing things other than playing with like the Umarex T4E stuff or BB guns and all that. Like, I like doing it, but sometimes I have other things going on. So I'm just putting these sights back. Yeah, there's not really much else to do as far as maintenance. I didn't mess with the puncture thing because this video is getting too long, and I installed the remote line adapter that you can't buy anymore because not one website has all the pieces, at least when I checked a few months ago. It still seems like it's that way. And then yeah, if you guys want these pieces or whatever, just throw a comment in there. I'll let you guys know where I got these things, or you could just send me an email. My email is on my channel description, or I don't know what it's called. It's in my channel thing. If you click on my name and it says like read details or something about the channel, I have my email in there. So if you want to know where I got these pieces, I'll let you know. Some of them are still available. I haven't looked at the place where the check valve is, but I know that it might be available somewhere else. But yeah, I had to buy 2 pieces for this from one website, 1 piece and a bunch of O-rings from a different website, and then the check valve that's inside here and the O-ring for that check valve from a third website. So it was a little bit pain in the ass, and like I had to pay for shipping for all that stuff for each order because I didn't make a complete order, and at the time I didn't really know what else to buy or whatever. Like, I wasn't looking at different barrels and accessories for T4E things and all that. So yeah, this thing's ready to go. I forgot to mention, I'm gonna put some grease on these O-rings for the safety and safety button and the fire button. When we bought our TCRs, they were at the time they came with a rifle bag for free, kind of included with the price. So they no longer have that Byrna bag. You might be able to buy it from the website, maybe. And I don't have any other like good rifle bags that have like a bunch of pockets and stuff. So I can't really recommend an alternative at this time. But yeah, mine came with, both of ours came with those bags and the TCR itself, and yeah, pretty much just that. I don't think it came with rounds or anything, but it was, yeah, just the bag and the TCR, yeah. So it's not necessary, but I'm gonna put a little bit of grease on the barrel threads just to make it a little bit easier to feed into the marker, and so it doesn't have a bunch of random scuffs and stress and stuff on it. So I just put some grease on this, put a little bit more, and yeah, that'll pretty much wrap up this video. Sorry it was so long. I wasn't expecting it to be that long, but you know, here we are. And yeah, so I'm just putting this in here. It's going in smoothly. I'll have to inspect if I'm have any sort of power loss, because that barrel didn't have, or that breech did not have an O-ring in it. So I don't know if that got overlooked or if it just didn't have one to begin with. But I think my TCR had the O-ring in that stock breech. I'll actually get it right now because I got my bag down here. So this is my TCR breech, and it also does not have an O-ring in there. I was assuming it would be like somewhere right there. Sorry, the camera's not focusing. It would have been like right behind the threads, but I don't see it in there, so maybe it didn't have one. So anyways, guys, thanks for checking it out. If you have questions about anything, I'll let you know. If you guys want to see these, or like how I dye these, or how I take off this stuff, let me know. It's very simple. And I just use the RIT dye, just like Mr. John Reynolds. It's this stuff. I have like half of this bottle left, and I have a I just keep reusing the same I keep reusing the same container that I got. So it's back here. So this is my RIT dye. Yeah, it's dark green. So yeah, you just get like an old pan you're not going to use anymore, you don't care about, and then heat that up on the stove, and then dip your plastic parts in it, and you have to keep moving the parts around so that they don't melt, but you just get like some tongs or something and just kind of keep moving them around, and you just boil them in that water for about 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, depending how dark or how much color you want to stay on the plastic. So yeah, thanks for checking it out. And if you guys want to see me dye these, I'll do it. But if you don't want to see it, I'll just do it off camera. And yeah, thanks for checking this out to the end. Sorry it was so long. I would just watch this on double speed or something. So see you later.